Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's April 5th, 2017. This is a correction video plus some additional information. Last night, I put out a video on Russell Westbrook tying Oscar Robertson for 41 career triple-doubles in a single season, an NBA record that lasted for 55 years. What you don't know is last night I made a video about the significance of 55 and Russell Westbrook tying the record 55 years later. We're going to talk about the significance of 55, but while I was making that video, like I sometimes do, I said, let's check something out real quick. And I said, let's look at what years Oscar Robertson played in Milwaukee. Because Russell Westbrook tied the record against Milwaukee, who Oscar Robertson used to play for. So in recording the video, I looked it up, and the way it was displayed on the screen, I thought Oscar Robertson had only been in the league since 1973, starting with Milwaukee. And I was like, wait a minute, that's 44 years ago. How could he have set the record 55 years ago? So I went back and remade the video thinking Oscar Robertson had only been in the league since 1973. And anyway, that was completely wrong. 1973 is the year Oscar Robertson left the league. So anyway, got to make that correction, but I'm glad we're making the correction because now I can make the original point, which truly is the most important point of the video. So here we go. 1961-62 was the season Oscar Robertson got 41 triple-doubles. Russell Westbrook just tied it last night, April 4th, a very special date, as I covered in the video, which is all still true. We're going to talk about why 55 years later, in regards to the NBA, a game of 5-on-5, 5 men on each team. If you know your NBA history, you might know that it was 1955 that the NBA created the MVP award. It was for the 55-56 season. 55-56. You know what? Speaking of doing things in real time, let's look at who the first, I want to know who the first winner was of the MVP award. First NBA MVP award winner. Well, it can't be LeBron James. All right, let's go to NBA.com. Bob Pettit, St. Louis Hawks. Then Bob Cousy, then Bill Russell. LeBron and Bill Russell got the major parallels. Bob Pettit won it again in 58-59. Then Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain. Oscar Robertson, 63-64. Okay, so here's something. I'm glad we just looked this up, True Seeker. Watch this. Watch this. With regards to Oscar Robertson winning in the 63-64 season, we're going to build this up. Russell Westbrook tied the record on April 4th, right? Russell Westbrook equals 63. 63? Like the 63-64 season? Hold on. April 4th, 63-63, the day he tied the record. And remember, it was 144 days from Russell Westbrook's birthday. Also, Oscar Robertson retired with the Bucks 44 years ago. And last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder got their 44th win against the Bucks. We'll review all that, but this 63 is important because what's cool about 63 is if you count every number 1 through 63 and add them together, you get 2016. That's called the triangular number when you add up all the numbers that go to it. So 63, 1 through 63 sums to 2016. Here we are in the season that began in 2016, 2017. Russell Westbrook, real chance at being the MVP, even though his team's not the front runner. So look at this. Last year, Russell Westbrook had star teammate Kevin Durant, who won the MVP in 2014. Kevin Durant left in the offseason, by the numbers, to the Golden State Warriors. Anyhow, the year that Kevin Durant won the MVP, what I documented then is that the MVP award began again in 1955, and that year before he won it, he was in this recurring commercial. It was for a phone company, Sprint. Look at this. This is before he won the MVP award. He's talking to a boy in a treehouse wearing number 55 with a 5 up here. And that year, the conversation was, could Durant win the MVP? And this commercial was out, and I was like, MVP award 55. Well, Kevin Durant did go on to win the MVP that year with 119 first place votes, that very special number. All-Seeing Eye 119, Star of David, the Star-Spangled Banner, Master Plan, and so many other things. Super important number, 119. And this is what sports is. It is the all-seeing eye. It controls the minds of the masses. You know, the all-seeing eye is about where's your mind's eye at. You know, people's eyeballs are on the TV, but their mind's on the TV, and their mind's getting programmed by the TV. So again, 55, the year of the MVP award. It's a game of 5-on-5. But think about it. Basketball is a team game, right? It's supposed to be about the team. You grow up as a child playing sports, you learn there's no I in team. But some people get clever and say, but there is a me. Anyway, I grew up in the 80s. In Portland, Oregon, it was the only pro sports team we had. So the Portland Trail Blazers, you know, that's what all of us followed as children. That was our pro sports team. And in the 80s, it really was about the team. There was a biggest star of all. There was Clyde Drexler when I was growing up, but the whole team got recognition. When there was commercials, it was all about the whole team. And you know, it wasn't like Clyde Drexler and nobody else. It was like Clyde Drexler and, yeah, a bunch of other awesome guys. It was presented that way. But anyway, in 1984 is when David Stern became the commissioner of the NBA, and David Stern is quoted saying, the NBA isn't about basketball, it's about making stars. And in other words, what he's saying is it's not really about the sport, it's about creating this celebrity. And why? Because celebrity sells. I mean, look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan came up with David Stern. Look at the shoes, the clothing line, the movies, everything. You know, the legend. For whatever reason, this sells more. And actually, if you read, there's a bunch of research that was done in the 60s and 70s, and all this stuff came out that the CIA was crossing over with Wall Street, and what the powers that shouldn't be had discovered is, you know, appealing to the ego is the most effective you can do in terms of producing sales for a commercial world, which we live in. You know, focus on the self, focus on the individual makes people want to buy, spend dollars. Ultimately, it all goes back to psychology, and that's what this is. All of this stuff is done for a reason to impact the minds of the masses. And we are given this society that's all about me, me, me. I mean, look at what most of the music is that's on the radio now. It doesn't even matter what genre you flip to. It's like, there's just no message there. You listen to music from decades ago, it was about social change, social justice, doing the right thing, songs people could relate with. Now it's like, it's all about you, party all the time, cheat on whoever, all this negative message. So anyway, all of this stuff is impacting culture. We all grew up in this world. We know the way it works. When you're a kid growing up, you know what your peers listen to, what's on the radio, what's hip then, that's what becomes you. That's what influences you. And all the influences in society just continue to grow more and more negative, more and more ego and individual driven. So anyway, in the language of Gematria, I'll show you something really interesting. In the language of Gematria, the word Satan equals 55. And what is Satanism? Satanism is self-worship. If you study what Satanism is, it comes back to self-worship. There's other levels of Satanism, but mainstream Satanism, if you talk to somebody who says they're a Satanist, it's not that they worship Satan. It's just that they're focusing on themselves and enjoying this world and making it about them. And I mean, how many people in this world are that way? They wouldn't say they're Satanists, but that's pretty much how they would explain to you their worldview. That's almost what everyone's told me my whole life, in fact. They've said, Zach, you worry about trying to do things you can't do and that are out of your reach. They're like, just focus on you and just figure out how to be happy in this world and enjoy the world the way it is. You know, to me, that's crazy when you realize what's going on in this world. Lying, wars, purposefully poisoning the food, you know, driving everyone to materialism and ego. I feel like it's cowardly to just focus on me. And I felt that way since I was 18 when September 11th happened. My whole worldview changed because of September 11th, 2001. I was just like most other 18-year-old males. My mind was on sports, sex, having fun, drinking, partying. After September 11th, I became the weirdo because I was like, wait a minute. You know, like, where do I live? And is this really happening? So anyway, I mean, I could have ended up just like everybody else, honestly. Well, I was always questioning a little bit different before that, but, you know, September 11th shaped me up. Anyhow, this number 55, when I began studying if there was really any relevance to this language of gematria and numbers and words, I was reading this book by Faith Giovanni, which teaches the 2 methods of gematria, which I taught. That's where I learned it from. You know, the reduction, full reduction, English ordinal, as they're now called on this calculator. This is what I taught for over 2 years. These were the methods I knew. In that book, she talks about how 55 is this number that represents God, but in the book, she doesn't decode the word God, and then I ended up finding out on my own that Satan equaled 55, and I thought that was so weird. Well, check this out. 55 is this really special number. Numerology's 55. Tell you why that's interesting in a second. Fibonacci's 55. Fibonacci sequence, the mathematical sequence connected to God's 55. And when I learned about this reverse gematria, I said, oh, how crazy. God in reverse is 55. That Faith Giovanni, she never taught this reverse. But anyway, this is why 55 is such a cool number. If you add the numbers 1 through 10, the amount of men on a basketball court, you know, 5 on 5, if you add 1 through 10 together, it sums to 55. And you know what? People always like comment that I'm full of shit and my math's wrong. So just in case you're one of those people, let's just do it together. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 more is 6, plus 4 more is 10, plus 5 more is 15. You with me? Plus 6 more is 21, plus 7 more is 28, plus 8 more is 36, plus 9 more is 45, plus 10 more is 55. 55. So, the first 10 numbers added together sum to 55. 55 in numerology is 5 plus 5 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. If you study numerology, God is represented by the number 1 as well. You know, the infinite, the all-powerful. 1's the only number that divides into every other number. And they say there's God in all of us, right? So check this out. Fibonacci sequence. We talked about how numerology equals 55. We just did some numerology and showed the connection between 55 and 10. Fibonacci, 55. And notice how Fibonacci and numerology also have this 44 thing going on backwards. Anyway, 55 is the focus for now. The Fibonacci numbers go like this. 1, 1, 2. And see if you can figure out the pattern. 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. Can you see the pattern? You just add the 2 numbers that come before to make the next number. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. You see? The next number, if we wanted to go one more, would be 89. 34 plus 55. And then the next one would be 144. So we're just focusing up to 55. Now we're going to count how many numbers it is to 55. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 numbers to 55. The numerology of 55 is 10. What's cool about 144 is 89 is the 11th Fibonacci number, and 144 is the 12th. The square root of 144 is 12. Another mathematical synchronicity within the Fibonacci sequence. So you pay attention to these numbers. They're all very relevant to this study. They're all very relevant to the Bible and the stories within the Bible. Significant numbers. So just wanted to do a little lesson on 55. You know, they put the symbolism in front of us. It's undeniable that these numbers are ritualistic in this way. With regards to 55, having this connection to Satan, in the final book of the Bible, it says the false Jews, the synagogue of Satan, will rule in the end times. And I want you to think about David Stern, this Zionist Jew, saying the NBA is not about basketball, it's about building stars. You know, last night was the 77th game of the season for Russell Westbrook, and he got his record-tying 41st triple-double 58 days before the start of the NBA Finals. See these numbers 77 and 58 up here? The word star singular is also 58, but so is triple-double. And the head referee last night was number 58, which was no coincidence. Now that we've understood the 55 component of this, let's get into some of the other things I overlooked last night that are important. And also I will correct the mistake fully that I made. So, okay. Last night, right when Russell Westbrook got this, it was amazing. Last night I turned on the TV for the first time all day. I have TV for my girlfriend. My girlfriend's like most Americans when it comes to TV. She loves to watch the poisonous programming. But somehow she stays sane, so I just let her do it. Anyhow, I turned on the TV, and like within a minute of turning it on, the announcer was going crazy that Russell Westbrook just tied Oscar Robertson's record. I thought, wow, I turned it on just in time to catch that. And I was glad because right after they did it, they just started putting up these stats and graphics. And I guess granted, you could say, well, they know that the record could be tied tonight, so they already have them ready to go. But at the same time, you just look at it. I mean, right away I was like, Oscar Robertson used to play for the Bucks. Here Russell Westbrook is tying his record against the Bucks. And, you know, and then everything else that I'm about to show you. But it just, if you just look at it on the surface, it's so obvious how contrived all of this is. I remember years ago, Dirk Nowitzki surpassed Larry Bird in some statistic on this. You know, right away the announcers had the whole story ready to go, and what an irony it was with Larry Bird's own career, and I just thought, really? As I recall, Dirk Nowitzki had been out with an injury for a while, and he just came back to play in this game, and I was like, oh, he comes back just in time to do this, huh? So anyway, the point is, way before I knew Gematria, way before I knew numerology, all of this stuff, I could just see that something was off, something didn't make sense, you know, the way these teams lose and the way the teams win, and growing up in Portland, Oregon, and watching the way they choked away games to these teams that were supposed to be better, it never made sense, you know? It's because it's always been a script. So real quick, let's go through this fast again, plus some new information, just in case you missed last night's video. Yesterday was April 4th, 2017, the date this record was tied. ESPN with all of its fancy graphics. It was a date with 45 numerology, and the name Robertson equals 45. This was a 45-year-old standing record. April 4th is also the 94th day of the year. Oscar Robertson's full name is Oscar Palmer Robertson. On the 94th day of the year, his 55-year-old record tied. They used to call him Big O, which has Gematria of 33. Special number. Hold on. I thought I updated it. There we go. There's a lot more I want to show you here. Real quick about his nickname, Big O, 33. We're talking about 41 triple-doubles. There's something called base 8. We count in base 10 because we have 10 digits on our hand. That's why. But there's mathematics called base 8. And in base 8, 41 is 33, this super important number in the world of professional sports. And just real quick, in NBA history, this isn't anywhere near the full list, but this is a list people will understand. Big O, his nickname 33. His initials were OR, Oscar Robertson, 15 plus 18, 33. Think about this. Magic and Bird, 33. The Lakers and the Celtics. NBA Finals equals 33. The Celtics have won 17 championships. The Lakers have won 16. A total of 33. I don't know if either of those teams will win anymore. NBA equals 17, and the Celtics lead the league with 17 championships. But look at these names. Michael, Vincent, Patrick. We just saw Patrick Ewing, number 33 at Georgetown, become the coach. 33 years since his MVP season in the NCAA, losing to Villanova that year in the first March Madness. 85. Basketball equals 85. This year was the 33rd March Madness. Patrick Ewing becomes the coach at Georgetown 33 years later. Kobe, 33. Stephen, or Steven, the way it's spelled. LeBron James, Cleveland, NBA Finals. All of these people are champions, right? The word champion has gematria of 137, the 33rd prime number. And if you follow the date numerology of these championships, the stats within the games, think about Jordan winning 3 times and then winning 3 times more in a row, 3 and 3. So anyway, NBA 33. 33 has a relationship with 41 in mathematics. Oscar Robertson also wore the number 14. And when you write out 14, it sums to 41. Forgot to mention that last night. That gives me deja vu of last year. Remember last year? Kobe Bryant, who also has name gematria of 41. Kobe Bryant. It's funny, Kobe retired on a date with 58 numerology. Wow. Wow, I never knew that about Kobe Bryant in reverse. Because remember, we just learned the reverse recently. Los Angeles Lakers, 58. Think about how Kobe wore 33 in high school. Wow. See, I love just discovering more every day. We were just talking about 58 and star, right? It's about making stars. Think about Kobe Bryant. Anyway, we were talking about last year how Joe Jellybean Bryant, his father, was drafted 14th overall by the Golden State Warriors 41 years before Kobe played his last game. And remember, Kobe scored 60. The Warriors eclipsed Michael Jordan's record with the Bulls. Those games were playing on ESPN1 and ESPN2 to close out the NBA season together. Look at this. Kobe Bryant. Do you remember his poem last year that he was going to retire? It was called Dear Basketball. Dear Basketball, 41, 113. Think about Kobe and Jordan, the parallels. Michael Jordan's 59, which is a number stamped on black people, but also 113. Utah Jazz is who Kobe played his last game against. Remember, his 60-point game was synced up with the death of Moses Malone, who was drafted out of high school by Utah, but then played the majority of his career in Philly, where Kobe grew up. I need to show you something about Sumerian gematria and the retirements of Jordan and Kobe. Jordan played his last game with the Wizards against Philadelphia, where Kobe's from. If you use Sumerian gematria, what it's doing is multiplying this English ordinal value 113 times 6. So notice, 113, 678. Michael Jordan will be the same thing. So will Kobe Bryant. Now, I promise you this is 100% factual and true. From the day that Jordan played his last game to the day Kobe played his last game is exactly 678 weeks to the day. Right on the nose. 678 weeks. And the kicker, remember, Kobe was playing his last game, scoring 60, 213 days after Moses Malone dropped dead at 60. LA's the 213 area code and the kill number for a lot of black men in history. Tupac Shakur and so many more. Len Bias. So many more. And speaking of that, I should let you know that the NBA Finals has this gematria of 213. Len Bias died 213 days after his birthday. You can't help but notice the 666 gematria up there, right? This league is run by the Synagogue of Satan, as named in Revelation, where the same number 666 is made infamous. And what I'm showing you, gematria is a Jewish practice. But anyway, Moses Malone dead 213 days before Kobe finishes his career with 60. The most hateful word for black people has gematria of 42, which we typically talk about. It also has gematria of 60. So anyway, we're getting into other things, but the point was we were making about Kobe. His father played for Golden State, the team that's originally from Philadelphia. They used to be the Philadelphia Warriors, 41 years before Kobe Bryant retired. Do you guys remember when Kobe scored 81 points? His team scored 122 points, meaning the rest of the team scored 41, and the date of that game was January 22nd, 1/22. I did a video on that game and predicted in that same video that later that day the Warriors who were playing would finish their game with 122 points. That was 2 years ago, you guys. Golden State did that night, finished with 122. And notice the 58 in Golden State like 41, like 14. You know, Oakland also has the 58 code. Oakland's on the 122nd meridian. So this is why, for me, it's just like frustrating that my work's not... like, I don't know how I get so many people every time I make a video, and they're just like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Take some meds, idiot. It's like, dude, you need to get off the meds or the television or whatever you're on right now and refine, you know, the functioning part of your brain. This work, it's undeniable. All this stuff that's been coded. 122 is another number of Freemasonry. I can go on all day about this stuff, but it's just like, how don't people catch on? Look at this. Last night, the head referee was number 58. This was the shot right before they took Russell Westbrook out of the game for the commercial break. The score's on 74 points. Masonic 74, Jewish 74, occult 74. You know, we saw Oscar Robertson pass at age 74. 27 days after the NBA Finals, the man who was born in Akron, Ohio, like Steph Curry and LeBron James, and who was likely the father of LeBron James. Again, he died 27 days after the NBA Finals fateful number. LeBron James scored 27 in the NBA Finals. See my work before Game 7, why LeBron would win, and how the death of the actor Anton Yelchin at age 27 was related. What might sound crazy is crazy because I'm exposing crazy people. That's what I hate about what I do. People think I'm crazy because I'm exposing the crazy people. And more people should be able to see that these people are crazy than me. I don't know how not enough people see this. But 58 days before the NBA Finals, big triple-double record, head ref number 58. Look, if you don't know, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Annuit Coeptus 58. Freemasonry is based in the Old Testament, Jewish history, and Solomon's Temple is a big focus where almost all their legends come from. They say Solomon's Temple is the way Masonic lodges are now set up. So, you know, it's not too hard to see what's going on. You got Midget David Stern and... You guys, I'm not sure that we haven't contacted alien life every time I see Adam Silver. Have you seen that dude? Have you guys seen what Adam Silver looks like? Maybe you've never seen Adam Silver before. Most people don't like numbers, but they like pictures. In case you've never seen Adam Silver, I am questioning if the extraterrestrials are here. Have you guys seen the movie They Live? They Live? People say, who is they? You didn't know you were going to get this question answered in this video, did you? But this is what happens if you watch. I reward the viewer. They, like Freemasonry, like Secret Society, like Annuit Coeptus, like Solomon's Temple. They say that modern-day Freemasonry was, you know, established by the Rosicrucian order, which makes a lot of sense. It has the same gematria as Secret Society. And Rosicrucian means Rose Cross. And, you know, the time this was happening is the same time the English language was coming out and Francis Bacon existed, who people say is Shakespeare. I think whoever this character is or whoever this group of people are, I think these are the people who created our language and synced it all up with the gematria. Francis Bacon even has his own form of gematria named after him. And we were talking about Francis Bacon just a second ago. Or not Francis Bacon a second ago, we were talking about the number 122 a second ago, as in Oakland on the 122nd meridian, and Golden State equaling 122, and them scoring 122 points on January 22nd, just like the Lakers did when Kobe scored 81. One more cipher you should know about. Jewish Gematria. In Jewish Gematria, Chicago's 81. So is the word ritual. Jewish 81. Ritual 81. Ritual is 81 both ways. I mean, Kobe scoring 81 was absolutely a ritual. But I think it was also a little shout out to Chicago and Michael Jordan. You know, the major parallels in their career. Also, if you missed my video on Tony Romo, he retired on April 4th. From his date of his injury was 223 days. Super special number to Freemasonry. Antonio Ramiro Romo, his full name, 223. Also, Russell Westbrook yesterday did something very similar. Russell Westbrook, his team earned their 44th win. Exactly, Russell Westbrook's born November 12th, right here, November 12th, 1988. From his birthday to the accomplishment was 144 days. April 4th is the only month in the calendar year when written out that sums to 144. When you write out 44, it sums to 144. And think about how mutilated the spell of 40 is. It never made sense why there's no U in it until you learn Gematria. But anyway, the Thunder, in setting this record, became 44 and 43 against the Bucks. And Oscar Robertson, who he tied, retired with the Bucks 44 seasons ago. You know, 1973. His final season, 44 years earlier. What are the odds? It's all scripted, Truth Seeker. It's a tribute to time. And also, again, with that regards to that 223, 223 from April 4th to November 12th, from the accomplishment to his upcoming birthday, number 29, 223 days. Oklahoma City Thunder 223, the Synagogue of Satan, who's written about in Revelation in a letter to the Church of Philadelphia. Philadelphia won the first championship in basketball in 47. Masonic 223. Hope we covered it all. Again, where we began, April 4th, Russell Westbrook, 63. When you sum 1 through 63, 2016. Oscar Robertson, the MVP in the 63-64 season. Last night, after the game, big conversation about will Russell Westbrook be the MVP of this season? Very possible. Historic year, even though it's all scripted. The talent's real, but the competition's not. Also, last night it was his 78th career triple-double. Oscar Robertson, 78. NBA Finals equals 78. Cleveland equals 78. Last year, Cleveland became the first team to win a Game 7 on the road in the NBA championship since 78. That was also won on the 122nd Meridian in Seattle, Washington. Oakland and Seattle both on the 122nd Meridian. And that reminds me of one last thing I wanted to show you about Oscar Robertson. You know, maybe we should close out there just for some more knowledge on this number. His full name is Oscar Palmer Robertson. We talked about how it connected to 94, and the record was tied on the 94th day of the year. That name also has the 122 Gematria. And what that number is, it represents Elohim, the word for God, in the Jewish faith. So, the same numbers are abound again and again because they all come back to Freemasonry. Just ongoing Masonic tributes, symbols, and numbers. So I wanted to correct the mistake. Again, last night I said that Oscar Robertson started his career in 73 with the Bucks. That was a mistake. He definitely ended his career that season, not began. And, you know, I did a lot of work yesterday. Sometimes I'm tired and make mistakes. I should have known better, though, because my dad always talks about how when he was growing up, he liked watching George Gervin and Oscar Robertson. And, you know, my dad was a child in the 50s, 60s, so, you know, obviously his career didn't start in 73. Silly me, Truth Seeker. All these posts will be linked below. Last night in the video too, I said if anyone appreciates my work, I'm a starving man right now for doing all this work with no pay, but I can resolve that situation myself. I just want to update you, not a single person's donated, so it's okay, Truth Seeker. Like I said, the powers that shouldn't be, they've taught people to be selfish and focus on themselves and not care about others. It's all good, Truth Seeker. I do this work to try to undo that. I've known this world's that way since, well, for pretty much all my life. So I've always tried to not be what I see in the world, and also typically throughout life, I haven't asked anyone for anything. But since I do work so hard and put out all this knowledge for free to thousands of people every single day, I figure, maybe a few people can kick a few dollars back. About a month ago, I asked and said I would appreciate some help, and 12 people had donated when I last checked. I think 2 people more have donated since, so I appreciate those 14 people. But just so you know, I have an audience of nearly 50,000 people. 12, 14 people show some love. It's all good, Truth Seeker. I'll keep doing the work anyway because no one else is doing it. And honestly, at the end of the day, all of us serve ourselves a little bit. This has been, in a way, my personal mission from a young age, to undo this sick world that I see. I've known the world is sick for so long, My parents taught me all about this sick world at a young age, and I just got to see it the way they lived. All they ever did and all they still are working slaves. It's sad, So are most people. Also, there's this graphic about beasts. I just saw when I was looking for stuff about Russell Westbrook. If you just missed the video I did about LeBron James scoring 135 points with his team in the team's 49th win against the team they did it on the date they did. I talked about the number of the beast and 666, which is coded into NBA Finals. It's just, all of this stuff is sick, People don't know what's going on. You guys want one more before we go? You know how LeBron wears 23? He won the NBA Finals last year on the real King James's birthday. Played his first NBA game against the Sacramento Kings. Played his first game of his career against the Sacramento Kings. They played him for 42 minutes on a date with 42 numerology. The word Kings 23, also 41. He won the NBA Finals on the real King James's birthday last year. Date with 41 numerology. Notice the Jewish Gematria of 66. LeBron last year became the first player to go to 6 straight finals since 66. LeBron James even has the Gematria of 66. Because LeBron and James are both 33 in the reverse reduction. Alright, Truth Seeker. That's enough for now. Until next time.